In the wrestling world, the people are represented by two separate but unequally important groups. The wrestlers and bookers, who literally do all the hard work, and the fans, who endlessly nitpick and overanalyze everything they do. These are their stories.
Hey! It's Warhorse, and you need to shut your mouth, open your eyes, and clean out your ears, because it's time to listen to the Raw and Order podcast. That's right, they're bringing you the best in all that meaty podcasty goodness in one, what is it, an hour? 2? Who cares? Who gives a shit? You need to listen to it right now, or else Warhorse is gonna, roll your ass!
Welcome to another episode of Raw and Order, the Wrestling Booking Unit, the only wrestling podcast on the planet that waited until today to review all of the wrestling over the weekend because we couldn't watch it all on the weekend and we wanted to be able to talk about it all. I am your host, Detective Mark Sparks, and I'm joined, as always, by my partners in crime fighting. Starting off, District Attorney Vincent Kayfabe. What's going on, man? How are you?
Oddly, we waited a day to talk about all the wrestling this weekend because we couldn't watch it all this weekend. So we watched it all today, except for none of us watched it all. Still.
No, we still didn't get it all.
But we covered it all, which is great.
Well, yes, we got coverage, right? Also joining us from up north, JLB. What's going on, man?
It goes on, good sir. We do got it all covered. We watched at least 2 out of the 3 amongst all of us, so we're all going to be able to talk a little bit about everything from the best to the worst to, how our awards go. So I'm excited. I'm down to talk about wrestling because it was sure a lot of it this weekend. And couldn't join you for the reactions for AEW Double or Nothing. But I am down to react now, good sir. Let's go.
Yes. So to remind everyone, there were 3 major events over the weekend, right? There was WWE Night of Champion from beautiful Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. I think we're required by law to say that. Otherwise,
Beautiful Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. Yes.
Yeah. We can't.
A very
can't just
modern
call it
city
Jeddah.
with a traditional area as well.
Mm-hmm. Very progressive now. I don't know if you know this, but their women can drive now.
Hey.
Progressive.
I mean, can they really drive?
But I'm ching. Feel like we need to go out for a 2 martini lunch now and smoke some cigars while we drink in our offices. Welcome to 1950s again.
Hey, Dr. Strange Hair, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
But
I think he technically resubscribed on our last one because I think we even mentioned it.
But he didn't tag himself in it then.
I don't know why it doesn't show in our StreamYard, but on Twitch he said that it didn't let me share this last week. So for whatever reason, he resubscribed, but it didn't let him share it. So he's doing it now. Okay. But either way,
it's fair.
8 months in a row, my friend.
Whoop whoop.
Oh, so there's Night of Champions from beautiful Jeddah, Saudi Arabia. There was AEW's Double or Nothing from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada in America. And there was NXT Battlegrounds from, I don't know where it was, Lowell, Massachusetts.
Only one not originating from a desert.
Yes.
That's fair. Yeah.
What is it? They probably called it, what's one of the neighboring cities to Lowell? Because they can't have been like Lowell, Massachusetts.
Foxborough.
Yeah,
Boston.
probably. It's Middlesex County, Massachusetts. I mean, Massachusetts is tiny, so.
You could just say originating from Massachusetts.
Yes. Don't know how to say the city.
But I'm sure they said.
Well, they definitely didn't say Boston. I'll tell you that much.
What?
They definitely didn't say Boston.
Yeah.
They're not going to use a big name city, so. Because NXT wouldn't be able to sell the Garden.
Oh, who knows? Maybe they could.
This show could have.
I mean, AEW sold out fucking Wembley. Came close to, allegedly. I don't know what's the best way to describe it, but
Yeah, they were at like what 80,000 or like 70,000 or something.
according to Tony Khan, they're over 65,000 on the thing. Yeah, Lowell is close to Boston. That's the closest one it would be. So I don't know. Maybe they did. Anyways, irregardless.
Yes, sir.
Had to say it just for. What about selling? What?
No, it actually said Lowell, Massachusetts. They used Lowell.
Oh, look, he looked it up while I was mean mugging you.
Yep.
Anyways,
Anyways,
I just went to the network to see at the beginning what they said.
NXT Battleground, which was on at the same time as AEW Double or Nothing, which led to the dilemma that we faced. Who watches
also over a Memorial holiday weekend?
Mm-hmm. Who watches what wins?
In the U.S.
You
guys have Memorial Day in Canada?
No, we just do Remembrance Day on the 11th of November.
See,
you guys like to have 2 days.
Well, we
do one for the living and one for the dead.
Correct,
yes,
essentially. Veterans.
Right.
And we stolen the Memorial Day for the deceased of any kind, not just military. But
that's fair.
Government does it for the deceased of military.
Right. Yeah.
Which, makes sense. Personally, we should all celebrate every day for our soldiers and all that. But,
I think just for being alive, we should celebrate every day.
Mm-hmm.
That's fair.
The official terms for Memorial Day is for people who served. But,
yes. But when it's a Monday, that's a 3-day weekend, so we're all stealing it, okay?
Yeah. We're going to turn it into whatever. The official is, it's the day we grill out and start wearing our flip-flops and our American flag shirts.
You have a lot of American flag shirts, bud?
No, not really, actually. They're against flag code, so I don't wear them. But a lot of Americans do.
They are against flag code. I'm proud of you for that.
Yes. The usages of the American flag that I see on a near daily basis that are against flag code are innumerable.
Especially people who supposedly respect the country.
Yeah. Respect the flag.
Right.
You got to respect the flag.
You shouldn't be wearing it on a shirt, moron.
Yeah. It literally says that in the flag code.
Yep.
It's not to be used as clothing.
Attire.
It's also not supposed to be used on anything that's designed to be single-use thrown away. So if you see it on a paper cup or a paper plate or a beer can or fireworks or a disposable tablecloth. In fact, the disposable tablecloth gets it twice because it's also not supposed to be used as a tablecloth. So, but yes. Anyways, we're not here to talk about flag code. We're here to talk about wrestling. So, three total things. We're gonna go through the whole thing just by the very nature of the way that we do our wrestling reviews. There may be matches that we talk about very little or none at all because we don't go through each match individually like other podcasts do and say, this is what happened. Here's what we liked. Here's what we didn't like or whatever. We start off and we talk about the worst things of the entire weekend. And then we talk about the best things of the entire weekend.
Because it's always good to end on a high note.
Mm-hmm. And so There will be some matches over this entire thing that are neither worst nor best. And we might not talk about them, or we might mention them in passing as an honorable mention or something. But we're going to go ahead and get into it because we got a lot to talk about and we don't want to be up forever. So, starting off, worst match of the weekend. Now, here's what we're going to talk about before we actually get into it, though. We mentioned it. None of us was able to watch all three, right? I don't watch the Saudi Arabia shows for personal reasons, so I didn't watch that, but I did watch both NXT and AEW. AEW Live and NXT on replay. D.A. Fabe was not able to watch AEW yet, but he did watch Night of Champions and NXT Battlegrounds. And JLB...
Neither of them did I watch live.
Yeah. JLB did not get to watch NXT, but did watch Night of Champions and AEW. So there's two of us for each show. So I think we'll be able to get a good spectrum of it all. And in the end, when we talk about the worst things and then we talk about the best things, you can use this if you haven't watched that show or one of these shows. You can use this as an excuse to, these are the things to watch. These are the things that I can probably skip. That's fair. Worst match of the night. To run through the matches that happened, of course, WWE and NXT both tend to run less total matches on a show and sometimes shorter shows overall. AEW tends to run more matches and slightly longer shows. And so we had in Night of Champions, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, Becky Lynch versus Trish Stratus, Mustafa Ali versus Gunther, Asuka versus Bianca Belair, Natalya versus Rhea Ripley, Brock Lesnar versus Cody Rhodes, and the Bloodline, Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa versus Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn. On AEW, we had Orange Cassidy in the Blackjack Battle Royal defending his title. We had the unsanctioned match between Chris Jericho and Adam Cole. We had FTR versus Triple J. Christian Cage challenging Wardlow's TNT Championship in a ladder match. Jamie Hayter defending against Tony Storm. House of Black against an open challenge, so someone would show up. Turned out to be the Acclaim with Billy Gunn. Jade Cargill versus Valkyrie. Yes. MJF versus Sammy Guevara versus Darby Allin versus Jungle Boy. And then the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite and an Anarchy in the Arena match. And then NXT Battlegrounds only had 6 matches. Wesley defending against Tyler Bate and Joe Gacy. Noam Dar defending the NXT Heritage Cup against Dragon Lee. Ilya Dragunov versus Dijak. The Creed Brothers versus Gallus. Tiffany Stratton versus Laya Valkyria for the vacant NXT World Championship. That was the final of their tournament. Which, by the way, because we did our predictions before last week's NXT aired, we were all wrong on who was going to be in the final because we thought it was almost definitely going to be Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade in the final.
Yeah.
And it was neither of them. And then Carmelo Hayes defending against Braun Breaker. So of those matches, worst match of the weekend.
NXT used a really screwy design to a match that I didn't like. That the multi-round match, Noam Dar and Dragon Lee. I don't know. This is my first time watching a Heritage Cup match. I don't know, and I don't like it. It wasn't great. The breaks in between weren't good. It was overbooked because they're both high flyers, which AEW can do so well, and NXT usually does well, but they did not on this one. That's my worst match of the weekend, barring the fact that Rhea Ripley and Natalya did exactly what it should have done, which would just be over fast. Otherwise, that one would be the worst match of the weekend. But because it did what it was supposed to, I was okay with that. So I'm going to go Noam Dar.
Okay. Go ahead, Joe B.
Yeah, no, I'm probably gonna have to say, I mean, it didn't do what it was supposed to do because it just shouldn't have happened. You had a lot of women's matches over at Night of Champions anyways. You didn't really need that match there. Completely pointless. You could have used that 3 minutes for maybe another match. Give me more of AJ and Seth, because why the heck not? Give me more of Brock and Cody. Cody could have done a little bit better on the passing out. So didn't really need that match there. So if let's say we can't pick the Rhea Ripley and Natalia match, I probably would have to go with Jade versus Valkyrie, just specifically for that portion of that, because guess it kind of told the story towards
you're throwing guns at too fast either way.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fair.
Absolutely.
I'm not digging on you for it.
They're both, and because they're both title matches, you know what I mean? Like, stop. Both companies do seem to just accept. AEW tends to do it a lot more than WWE, because I mean that Asuka Bianca match went on for quite some time as well. So, yeah. So between Jade and Valkyrie and Nia. Not Nia, and Rhea. Sorry, I don't know why I have Nia on the brain. And Rhea and Natalia. Those two get a tie for worst match for me.
Okay. So, for me, so I didn't hate the rule setup for the Noam Dar versus Dragon Lee match. I don't think it fit Dragon Lee's style very well. So for JLB, since he hasn't watched it, the Heritage Cup is a round, 3-minute rounds.
Oh, okay.
First to 2 falls. There's something else. So up to 6 3-minute rounds, 20-second breaks in between each round. 2 out of 3 falls to win. Falls can only be pinfall, submission, or count out. There also is disqualification, but once a fall occurs, the round ends. In the match,
they get like a 20-second break.
Yeah, and then a 20-second break. In the event of a disqualification or knockout, the match instantly ends without the need for 2 falls. And if all 6 rounds are completed, whoever has the most falls wins. I would think that rule's kind of dumb though, because if it's for 2 out of 3 falls, right?
Yeah.
You get to 6 rounds. The only way that someone can have the most falls is if one person has 1 and the other has 0, right?
Otherwise, they've already gotten the 2 falls.
Otherwise, someone got the 2 falls, or they're tied at 1, so no one has the most falls.
It's a confusing setup. It's not enjoyable.
Yeah. But for me, the thing is, like, Dragon Lee,
it's different.
It's different. I didn't hate it. I just think it fits the more technical wrestling style that Noam Dar does, but not the more high-flying, fast-paced wrestling style. That
Noam Dar's not exactly grounded, though, either.
He's not.
Like, he's not Dean Malenko out there.
He's not. But and that's what this is something that a wrestler that wrestled earlier in the night, Tyler Bate, excelled at. It's something that some other wrestlers, like I'm looking at the people who had the thing. Mark Coffey had it for a while.
Mark Coffey's
Tyler Bate. A-Kid had it. Noam Dar is the only 2-time champion at the Heritage Cup. Having someone who's a more grounded wrestler, like especially British styles wrestler, especially since it's a British rules. It started in NXT UK. It was supposed to be an NXT UK thing. They folded NXT UK. and then they're like, well, we'll just have it in regular NXT. That's fine. I think it fits fine with British style wrestling, right? Flash Morgan
Right.
Webster was in the original tournament. Alexander Wolf was in the original tournament. Those are all people who can do it really well. That grounded, more British style wrestling. Think William Regal
Yeah.
when he wrestled. That sort of style. Dragon Lee doesn't fit that style. He's a high flying. And so breaking up every 3 minutes, right, just totally got in the way of his flow and didn't allow him to show off. That being said, I don't think it was the worst match of the night or the weekend, right?
Okay.
I'm probably going to ruffle some feathers when I say this. I think the Wardlow match might have been the worst match of the weekend.
I mean,
Just a hater,
I don't know.
though, on Wardlow.
Yeah, I mean,
Wardlow. I want him to be done with Christian Cage. I'm done with the Wardlow versus Christian Cage storyline. I'm just done with it. I don't want to see them do it anymore, right? And so, if
well,
anything,
I mean,
this
it's
should have been.
barely. This has only been a month, no? Didn't they
I'm
come
still
out only
done
like
with
3
it.
weeks ago? Oh, okay.
No, I mean they feuded because the whole thing was played into how he lost it in the first place. But that's my whole thing is just I'm done with the storyline. If anything, I would like to see it be Luchasaurus involved instead of, like, I don't know why. And this is not a hate on Christian Cage. I don't know why it's 2023 and Christian Cage is getting a 17-minute long match on one of the biggest pay-per-views for the company of the year, and Luchasaurus has a 60-second appearance spot where he gets taken down a notch by an old man who bites off his finger. True story.
Oh God,
Bites off.
probably my worst moment.
And then taken out and then never seen for the rest of the match, right? This would have been a more entertaining match to me if it had been Luchasaurus versus Wardlow. Because I'm kind of done with the storyline just as a whole. And I don't think they've got good chemistry in the ring. And then maybe a ladder match isn't the best use of Wardlow, to be perfectly honest.
No,
Just
I would
a
agree
hair
with
big
that.
For it.
Oh, we've got a no fucking cursing.
Oh, fuck.
So,
26?
we'll start it at 26.
Okay. Fuck yeah.
Fuck
Oh yeah, fuck. 20 seconds of more fucking swearing. Fuckity fuck off.
Shit. Oh, crikey.
Shyster.
I want to shove my thumb up its butthole. Oh, wait, no, it's not really swearing. Well, fuck.
No, fuck.
Shit.
One job. One fuck. Ah, we good.
Oh, you didn't finish. You didn't
No
finish.
more.
You're good.
No, I mean I can't fault you for that match. I mean, I did personally want Christian maybe to win because honestly, I don't care for Wardlow as champion. I know we're in 2023, but clearly, I don't know. They're not entrusting Luchasaurus with anything. After he left Jungle Boy, he hasn't done anything. Christian hasn't really been able to help him, although that Luchasaurus Jungle Boy match was fire, so I thought something maybe was going to happen there after that crazy cage match. But no bueno. But I would have been down. I don't think Wardlow's over enough, and you might be onto something with the ladder match. Wardlow is
and
a cage match would have made more sense for Wardlow.
yeah, I think Wardlow would get more over if he wasn't in a feud with Christian right now. And I know Christian's there to elevate people, but Wardlow, like, I would much rather see Wardlow feuding with Samoa Joe again, right? Who he
Yeah, I don't
feuded
know.
with for the title before, because they teamed up War Joe and they were tag team, and
Right.
then Samoa Joe turned on them. In fact, I would have personally taken that out longer and had there be a month of War Joe or 2 months of War Joe before they turned and everything. But regardless, that's in the past. That was
Yep.
85 days ago
Damn.
that ended.
That word doesn't count as a swear, does it? The D word.
What-
the
What?
JLB just
Damn.
It
No.
depends. Are you asking my wife? Because she would say yes.
Oh, Jesus. Okay. Does Jesus count? We're saying his name in vain. Could be counted as a swear word.
Well,
But
that
I will.
depends. Are you asking his wife?
His wife.
The next question: are you asking my wife, and is my daughter involved in the conversation? Because at that point, yes, it's a swear. It doesn't matter what
It's a
your
swear word.
question is; it is a swear.
It is a swear. No, fair enough. So we had the Heritage Cup. I said between Rhea, Natalia, and Jade and Valkyrie, and you said the Wardlow Christian Cage match, which it's pretty fair on all ends. Although I think you're kind of a
I
hater for the
understand you
Heritage
going
Cup.
after Rhea. I really do. It was so fast.
It was just too fast. I mean, I knew Rhea was going to win. It's not like I'm shocked by what happened. No, Natalia is not winning anything ever again, it seems. But
We
we
know you're in the Natalia deserves better crowd. We know that.
I don't know. I think I'm past that. I think I'm done with Natalia deserves better. She maybe deserves to be respected a little bit more, like giving her a longer match. At this point, I know she's always going to lose because Natalia is there to lose. Her hubby's a really nice guy, though. I did meet him when he was here at Elimination Chamber.
I'm sure.
Pretty cool dude.
I'm sure she's a wonderful person.
Wonderful human being as well.
I'm sure
Absolutely. But
I'm sure she.
I don't know if she deserves better in the ring. It's been too long now that
Okay, am I being mean if I say that I think Natalia should just go ahead and put a little handprint on the back of her outfit now and just go over the Barry Horowitz role from now on?
Wow.
That's what she does now. My thing with it is, you paid all that money to fly Rhea and Natalia over to Saudi Arabia.
that's it.
Have them be in press. All that stuff for 1:10.
I mean, if I'm Natalia, though, I'm
doesn't-
freaking happy, bro. Like,
That doesn't
I get to
count
still
entrances,
experience the
but-
world.
Oh yeah, no, I just think from a financial situation for WWE, it doesn't make a lot of sense, especially since there wasn't like a feud built into this. Like, it wasn't
all,
like
no.
this was.
I don't even know
this was
why
the payoff.
This was off of like a 6-woman matchup or something on SmackDown.
Yeah, something like that. That's my point.
Okay.
It's like it was just thrown together at the last minute, and
I think it's more
And
because
they
maybe
came-
Saudi knows Natalia because she was the first woman to wrestle
yeah,
there.
absolutely. Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that.
I think that's what that is.
And maybe not even that Saudi knows Natalia, but more the other part that you point out. She was one in the first match to wrestle there, first women's match there. So keep that
That's
going.
it.
But then why not give her a match that can be competitive, right? It's not like you don't have more women on the roster you could have flown over.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's Night of Champions, though. Now, mind you, they have not always respected that rule that every match is a championship match for a Night of Champions pay-per-view. But I guess they felt like, well, we'll kind of respect that rule going forward, especially when we're at Saudi Arabia. But no, agreed. Or just made the match longer.
Because famously, Trish Stratus and Becky Lynch were champions, right?
Ex-champions.
They
Way
have
back
been
when.
champions.
They have been champions.
They had been. Brock Lesnar and Cody Rhodes were both currently champions, right?
Well, Brock
they're another. They had been champions. They had been.
They had
so
been
if we go by they had been champions, right?
I said respected the rules somewhat. They missed one or two.
They missed 2 in this year. They could have missed 3, and still respected the rules, right? There are people on their roster who are former champions that they could have had wrestle against Natalya in Saudi Arabia and been just as justified for this if they wanted to. Nikki Cross is a former champion. Could have had her.
I don't know. Nikki Cross ain't doing anything though. I still don't know what they're doing with her. They made her crazy, and then
they're doing the storyline with Candice LeRae. That's what they're doing. The friendship there. Ronda Rousey is a former champion.
Yeah, Ronda would have made sense.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know up against Natalya though. That would have been messed.
No, against Rhea.
Against Rhea would have been cool, and Rio still wins. Thus,
even against Natalya, I would have put. My point is, you could have Natalya wrestle against any one of these people, and had it been a story, storyline wise, this fits. Bayley's a former champion. You could have had Natalya versus Bayley. She wasn't doing anything on the pay-per-view.
Oh, they just wanted to have their titles all on the line, essentially. That's all that was. Except Roman, obviously, but he was already in a match.
And so they could have... They did a minute with this match. They could have done a minute with Rhea Ripley versus almost anyone else, and then given Natalya something that she...
So are you saying hashtag Natalya deserves better?
I'm just saying that it doesn't make sense to use someone of her stature for a jobber role right now. Otherwise, she never becomes Barry Horowitz.
No, I mean, she essentially has, though. You were spot on with...
And if that's what it is, she might as well put the hand on her back and start patting her own back like Barry Horowitz did. That's what
next topic.
Anyways, yes. Moving on to the next topic. Most predictable moment of the weekend.
Ooh. MJF retaining.
Maybe. The match did a really good job of selling that he might not retain.
That's fair. But you still kind of knew.
Most predictable moment. Involvement by the Usos.
Fair.
I'm not going to say how the involvement occurred. Okay, Gunther winning. There, you want the easy one?
I'm fine with Usos' involvement. Usos trying to help Roman win has been the storyline of Roman's entire championship, right?
Yeah.
In fact, it would be really... Hey, it's been over 10 fucking minutes, so it'd be really fucking something to go back and go through all of Roman Reigns' victories over the last 1,000 days. And
find the ones that didn't have outside interference.
Try to find any that didn't have outside interference.
I mean, the first Kevin Owens with the false count anywhere, that wasn't the Usos.
Mm-hmm.
That was That was Paul Heyman who
Well,
was involved in the outside interference.
Fun fact, though, you would only have to go through 26 matches, so that's not that bad. Out of those 1,000 days, he's only fought 26 times. Now, mind you,
It wouldn't take very long.
it wouldn't take very long. So I feel like there might not be one, except for maybe the first one or two or something. Like Fabe said, with Paul Heyman more doing the interference. But not anymore.
So
Maybe.
for me, probably most predictable. So I think there's kind of two, right? In my mind, both of them from AEW, I think can fall under this. First, Jade Cargill defeating Taya Valkyrie because she was 59-0, and there was no way they weren't getting her to 60-0, right?
That's fair.
So I was like, she's definitely going to beat. It should be a fun match, but she's going to win. The other most predictable is kind of a, if you know the outside of kayfabe storylines, Tony Storm beating Jamie Hayter.
Yeah.
Because we know that Jamie Hayter is injured, legitimately dealing with an injury, and, may not be able to wrestle like full matches. And May needs to, like, there was talk online about, is she going to have to vacate? No, they're just going to put it on Toni Storm. And they told a storyline of them beating her up backstage and injuring her further, and she tried to fight through it, but just couldn't make it through it. Right. Those
it still lasted
are
pretty long. Still lasted longer than the Rhea Natalia match.
Yeah. By a minute 50 seconds.
Yeah. Damn.
It wasn't like it was a super long match. It was 3 minutes and 5 seconds. So it lasted pretty long. It was 3 minutes and 5 seconds.
Well, I mean, pretty long because I literally thought it was just going to be pure squash. Okay, she's hurt. When then the bell rings, 1-2 moves, boom, done. This, at least I don't know. It just lasted longer than I thought because I thought her injury was bad enough to the point where I'm like, okay, they won't even try to do anything with her. But yeah.
They gave her a little bit of time to try to get her shine, and then they buried it, and she lost. So those are kind of my choices. Moving on to overhype of the weekend. Match or segment that was hyped up and did not deliver.
I don't necessarily know if it's fair to say this was too overhyped, but Jericho and Adam Cole unsanctioned, just for the sake of making it an unsanctioned match, you do know what that does entail, and it really underdelivered for that kind of match. And what a shit ending. It didn't even make sense to me. Why the ref would stop because Jericho wasn't defending himself. Like, it's not UFC here. I get it in UFC. It's real punches and whatnot. Sure, Adam Cole was hitting you with a chain, whatever. It almost felt like a weird ending to me, to where I maybe felt someone had gotten hurt at some point or something. Or maybe, I don't know, I thought maybe Adam Cole maybe couldn't maybe do much more because, I don't know, with this is his second match back since his concussion. So I thought maybe something like that. I don't know. The ending just felt weird for me. So I'm giving that match the overhype. And Sabu being there for 30 seconds? I would like to have seen a little bit more of the homicidal, suicidal, genocidal.
Oh, wait, no.
Sabu, because he was wearing blue.
Sabu.
Yeah,
You're
so
saying
I'll
that's the
go with
overhype too, huh?
Yeah, that's on the nose, my overhype of the weekend. If only because it was built up to be an unsanctioned match. Now, first of all, when you're talking unsanctioned, to me that means either before or after the main show. That's a lights out match. That's the way they used to do them, right?
Right.
And so the fact that it was the second match, kind of.
Turn off the lights and the pay-per-view's done for this match.
Also, It came after the Blackjack Battle Royal, which was fire. And so it was already feeling like a letdown from that. The referee stoppage at the end made no fucking sense. Sabu being the special guest enforcer and being there for like a minute. I even on my live stream, I mentioned to you, I went downstairs. I had to help my wife out with something, and then I went to make some nachos. I missed the first minute of the match or so. Missed all of Sabu.
Damn.
He wasn't even like laying in a heap at ringside. He was gone. He came out, he did his stuff, he went through a table, and then deuced out.
Bye-bye. Yep.
You can send my check here.
That's it.
I got a plane to catch.
Yeah.
It also
Don't blame me for that one.
I don't think Chris Jericho is set up for unsanctioned matches right now. And the thing is, we know from the booking that it was planned to be a ref stoppage because they did the vignette backstage with Saraya and Jericho complaining about the way it ended, complaining about the ref stoppage, and saying, this Wednesday on Dynamite, I want to have a mixed tag match, Saraya and me versus you and Britt Baker. Which also means that they're continuing the fucking feud.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Like, unsanctioned matches are supposed to be the blow off of the feud where, like, you know, finally we couldn't get this through regular means, so we're going to do it this way. And
That's it. It's supposed to be an end of a feud, exactly.
DA Fabe, your worst match of the weekend? Or overhype of the weekend, I should say.
Probably Brock Cody. Not that it was a bad match. I thought it was a really good match. It's just gotten a lot of hype. Like a lot of hype.
I see that. I thought
that's all Cody's doing.
A lot of hype.
I thought the titanium cast apparatus should play a lot bigger of a role in the
Yes. Yeah, I didn't like that he didn't try to use it as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
I think he did, though, didn't he? At one point, but Brock like stopped him or didn't.
Yeah,
really...
it was not an overwhelming attempt at using it as a weapon.
That's fair. That's fair.
Lex Luger won matches for a decade because of the titanium bar in his arm, hitting people. This shouldn't have been he tried to hit him once or twice and it didn't work, so he went back to his other stuff. This really should have been, he's got a titanium cast on one hand, and he beats the piss out of Brock Lesnar with a big metal glove, so then Brock Lesnar could later say, you wouldn't have beat me had you not had that cast on your hand.
That's why I thought he was going to win, Cody, essentially. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. But instead
Brock did.
lost.
Because Cody went.
And just horrible acting with the passing out, too. He could have passed out better on top of that. But, you know, maybe I'm a bit judgy.
Please.
Hey, don't get all French on us.
Mon ami?
Moving on, worst performance of the weekend. Now, this can be in ring performance, or it can be like acting performance. The worst performance.
Zoe. Well, if I have to go with the pay-per-views that I watched, if I can include a pay-per-view I haven't watched yet, I'm going to say Mark Sterling. Because, you know, he cost his client the title.
It's true.
That said, if I have to go with a pay-per-view that I watched, I'm going to go with Zoe Stark because she didn't get there quickly enough. That she was blessed that Becky was the person climbing back into the ring when Zoe Starks attacked. And so Becky sold a slow move into the ring. But it was Zoe Stark. She did not look prepared for her to come out under the ring and attack. As a performance.
Okay, I didn't feel it was that slow, but
Oh.
yeah? Okay, maybe.
Yeah, that's just how I felt. I mean, Do you have a different one for NXT or WWE? Oh, you don't have one for NXT? Okay, do you have a different one for WWE? Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay. What's the one you're going to use for AEW?
I think A-Dubs.
Worst performance. You got anything
The AEW Wild Thing band.
bad, huh?
Well, I mean, first of all, the whole, oh my God, it's blackface, and then we realize it's a mask, but that just created controversy for nothing. Second, them always playing the song during the Anarchy matches. Now you added a band into it rather than the PA system.
Well,
A bit much.
So
but
this
kudos
was
to the Young Bucks.
that was actually making fun of what happened during the last Anarchy in the Arena, because the last Anarchy Arena, the music continued playing was not planned. It was
Really?
a mistake, and it continued through much of it, and then they finally fixed it. And so they decided to roll it into the storyline with this one by having a band play. They also put it into the storyline by having the lead singer of the band proudly display to the Young Bucks that he was wearing a Blackpool Combat Club shirt under his jacket, and then getting super kicked in the face, which led to the music stopping.
It can still be the worst performance.
It can still be the worst performance, but there was reasons behind it.
Okay.
Smarks, can you prove me wrong that NXT didn't have a worse performance than? Well, I guess you didn't see the one in WWE. Zoe Stark come out.
Yeah, I can't specifically say on Zoe Stark. On NXT, I don't think it was the worst performance of the weekend, but I will say Dragon Lee versus Noam Dar. Dragon Lee did not have a great performance.
No.
Because, like I said, the rules of this match didn't
unless he gets just like a super huge luchador move that he hits like boom and then gets the win in a round. That's the only way that happens.
Or just absolutely dominates a round. All 3 minutes of it is him just hitting move after move after move.
Flip do,
that could be something, but it didn't. So, but I don't think that was really the worst performance of the weekend. It's just really hard to really say who was the worst performance, right? I mean, Smart Mark Sterling is a great option from that standpoint because he directly set up his clients to lose with his performance.
That's a kayfabe version.
That is a kayfabe version of it. If we're talking in-match performance, we could say Jamie Hayter. That's still kayfabe, but it's at least worth talking about, because she performed poorly because of that, Same reason we could say Natalya, because she lasted a whole minute 10 versus Rhea Ripley,
Sure.
Worst performance. For the same reason, we could say Jade Cargill, because she lasted only 48 seconds against Chris Statlander when she came back. I will maybe say this is me going to come down really hard on my boy. I'm going to say this now. Sammy Guevara, you're my boy, right? You're my boy. Your performance of I'll lay down for you, Max. I'll lay down. I need the money. Not your best performance. I really didn't buy it.
Oh, wow.
The fact that Max bought it, I guess it's all that really matters. But I didn't buy it. So.
I mean, I don't think anyone bought it necessarily.
Apparently Max did.
But But Max had a compelling argument because congratulations to Sammy Guevara and
Yes.
Ty Mello.
Worth talking about now.
They announced that they're having a baby. So
Mhm.
kudos to them. That's awesome. Very Cody Rhodes of him to do.
Yeah. Well,
Cody Rhodes also made the announcement on live TV
um,
when he was having a baby. So
I think they kind of felt that they had to do something because there was already talk online about why is Ty Mello not getting a match on the pay-per-view? Why haven't we seen Ty wrestle recently? Why isn't she in the picture for the TBS championship? Or why isn't she even coming out to the ring right now? Well,
right.
now we know why. Because
she's pregnant.
she's pregnant. Now we actually found out through a different means that AEW does have specific rules on pregnancies, and that is because of the danger that the performance can offer. Talent are instructed to tell Tony Khan as soon as they know. It happened with Penelope Ford and Kip Sabian. They were expecting. They told TK about it. They eventually lost the baby.
Oh shit.
And so you know, sad days for them on it. And she came back to it, but because of that, we never knew about the pregnancy, but Tony Khan did. And in this situation, there's another one where Tony Khan, I mean, because they had ultrasound shots of the baby,
Right.
of the fetus, right? And you don't get those until it's a certain percentage on,
Trimester.
right?
Yeah.
And so Tony Khan had to have known of this for probably a couple months now. For this, so but congratulations to them on that. It does explain why Ty hasn't been being used as much recently as I still think the best thing for Ty and Sammy will be when she does eventually come back. And even for the time being until she has the baby. I would probably separate them on TV. I would probably not have her out there. Because even with this was a big babyface moment and it did get a babyface pop for him. It's just too easy for people to hate them together. And
Right.
they're obviously setting Sammy up for at worst a tweener, but potentially a babyface role. You know, with his performances recently in his match, it seems to me like they're setting him up as a babyface right now, and having Ty come out is just lightning rod for that. Anyways, moving on to worst move of the weekend.
Worst move. I don't know. This is on you. I gotta jog my memory here.
Leave a softball. I'm thinking about it there, Smarks.
Okay. Well, the absolute worst move is not one that's officially in the running for this, but that's Jeff Hardy during the kickoff show match against the Guns, and Ethan Page. Jeff Hardy looked bad. I don't think there's a better way to say it than just bad. Like he tried to hit a twist of fate and just basically whiffed on it. He tried to. There's gifts out there that slowed it down. He just did not look ready. And the important thing is he did not look high. He did not look drunk.
Right.
He just looked bad. Right. So
I mean, how many of Brett Favre's touchdown passes are because he was on painkillers, so he couldn't feel how bad feel where he was throwing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, is this partially because he's not high?
Yeah. It could be. It could be that his body is so used to wrestling on something that wrestling not on something
hurts. Yeah.
Hurt. And it's just like the muscle memory is not there. It could be just that it's been a year since he wrestled and he's got horrible ring rust. That could be it. It could be that he didn't wear his traditional black cargo pants and instead wore red cargo pants. And that just threw off his whole flow.
It could be that he's 46 years old and he beat the crap out of himself.
That is something that it could also be.
For all those years. Sorry, there's a semi that went by.
It could also be that he was wrestling against Ethan Page, who is 33, so a full 12 years younger than him or so, and Austin and Colton Gunn, who are 28 and 32 respectively, also considerably younger than him, and they're just able to do things smoother than he can do. And that's not trying to put things down on him, but wrestling is, for the most part, a young person sport.
It could be all of the above.
Mm-hmm. But he did. He looked not good. Unfortunately, we can't actually use that as a thing because it was a kickoff show match. You were about to say something, Fabe?
Yeah. Worst move is booking Rhea and Natalya.
I mean, that goes without saying. Absolutely.
It is. It just the match did what it's supposed to do, and I'm not upset. It's one of the few times that I've seen a squash that I'm not upset that it was a squash. But it was just throwing another match in. I think Zoe Stark made a great heel. I think Trish made a great heel. That was a surprisingly good match. There are people who will dog on that one a little bit. There are people who will dog on the oversell of the broken arm. I liked it still. Overselling grit, maybe, but that's not a bad thing. I like the idea of overselling the grit. So, both in that one and Mustafa Ali's match, I'm going to go ahead and say booking Rhea and Natalya.
Okay, JLB.
Definitely can't argue with that. Worst move, I would maybe say, although yes, it was a nice surprise, is probably wasting the Jade Cargill versus Chris Statlander on the Double or Nothing pay-per-view. You easily could have at least had that happen on the next pay-per-view or something like that. Especially with a crowd that would have been probably more into
some vacation time, though.
Sorry?
Sounds like Jade's taking some time off, though.
I mean, I don't know.
Might be. I don't know. I haven't heard anything. But I mean, at the same time, it was cool. It was cool that it happened. Sure, I was surprised. That's great. But I'm like, I don't know. I would have at least maybe have liked to have seen a full-fledged feud between the two and it actually happen. You could have had her come out and say something and say, I'm challenging you next. Would have been down with that. But to have that match happen like that, although it was cool, I just really was kind of like, oh, okay. Well, I did really want it to happen. I'm happy that she lost. Don't get me wrong at all. I just think you could have had it happen maybe at like All In or even All Out. Especially to the crowd that was really dead. I think Chris Statlander deserved a better pop than she had gotten. Mind you, she has been gone for so long as well, so maybe a lot of people were like, "What's happening?" But I'm sure everyone knew who she was. Yeah, so I'm probably gonna go with Chris Statlander actually having the match with Jade to win that championship right after the other match. It kind of makes Chris Statlander weak at the same time too. So wasn't a fan.
If we dog on Yoko Hogan right after Yoko Brett, then we should dog on that, and I would agree with that.
Oh.
Yeah, I hard disagree on it being the worst move, but that's why we have three of us.
Maybe not a worst move, but yes, it's worthy of dogging on it.
Here's my thing. I like the way they did this because it sets up an instant excuse for Jade Cargill that she now can use. Even if she takes some time off, she can use when she comes back and say, listen, right? I'd already wrestled against Taya Valkyrie. I'd taken Taya Valkyrie's finisher and kicked out.
Right.
My manager, who I've since fired, put me in that position. And I deserve a rematch. I'm 60-1, and I was the first and only TBS champion for 60 of those matches. And so, I deserve a rematch. So it gives her an instant in for a rematch. It also gives an instant feud for a rematch, leading into what is probably going to be AEW's biggest, as in most important pay-per-view of their entire history at All In Wembley in a little under 2 months. Right. They need that. A little over 2 months. Anyways. They need that. So Jade Cargill could take a month off, relax, heal up, spend some time with her family, all of that stuff, and then come back, and there's an instant feud that can build up towards a TBS title match at Wembley Stadium. We've got plenty of time for Chris Statlander to look strong against people.
Right.
Right. I fully expect her to, especially since they made a big deal of it on the media scrum, I fully expect her to basically do an Orange Cassidy, I'm going to take any comers sort of a character, right? And so she is going to have matches and matches and matches and matches, and she's going to go through the entire AEW women's roster, right?
Most probably. Yeah.
I would fully expect to see a match in the I would expect to see a match in the not too distant future against Britt Baker. I would expect to see a match against Taya Valkyrie. Thunder Rosa, she's going to be coming back soon.
Probably a collision.
I wouldn't put it past them putting her into a feud with Toni Storm. You took my championship even though I never lost to you. You know what I mean? Because you were the interim and then made the world champion and you never beat me, sort of a thing. Willow Nightingale could put on a good thing against Chris Statlander. Penelope Ford, Mercedes Martinez.
Did you give your worst move then?
I haven't given it yet because I'm just saying that this is why I think that I just don't think it's a worst move.
Okay, fair enough.
Worst move, I am going to specifically say a move, and that was Wardlow jumping off the top rope onto a ladder that is already gimmicked to be a ladder that breaks apart when someone is thrown into it at some point, and not understanding that it is going to collapse under your weight and hit you in the shins really hard while it does that. And then later picking up the same ladder and trying to climb it.
That's fair. Yeah, I would agree with that part. Absolutely. I was like, wait, what are you doing? Why? Why are you? And on the same side, en plus, on the same side, I'm like, why are you climbing on that side? At least use the other side. Yeah, that's fair. It's a fair point.
Also, in relationship, I've never understood in ladder matches why they don't grab the tallest ladder. They're always like, I'm going to grab this ladder that puts me 6 feet below the belt, so I have to reach up with my, just there's a bigger ladder right there. I can see it. Right? It's on screen right now. Grab the bigger ladder. Instead, he takes the 20-foot ladder so he can do a swanton bomb through a table.
Well done, mind you. I really did enjoy it.
It was a really good swanton bomb. We'll talk about that maybe in best move, but in worst moves, use a taller ladder and maybe don't use the broken ass ladder to try to climb.
That's fair.
Hashtag truth.
Also, worst move, Luchasaurus for sticking your thumb in Arn Anderson's mouth. You regretted that pretty quickly, didn't you?
Yeah, that was
weird.
And then Arn Anderson's head was it was really weird. And then Arn Anderson was bleeding all kinds, and I'm like, bro, but you were the one that bit him.
It was supposed to be blood coming out of his mouth. It was supposed to be Luchasaurus's blood coming out of his mouth, but it got smeared around and it didn't look right. He also got beat up by Luchasaurus for a bit, so they're played into it. But he then tried to bite Luchasaurus's thumb off.
Yeah, and then Arn Anderson legit looked like death when you saw all that blood and all that and how old he is and whatever, and he didn't look good. Honestly, I don't even know why you have him with Wardlow. Wardlow doesn't need you. He's not he's that great on the mic anyways. I don't know. I feel like he would just be better off being a producer.
Did you just say Arn's not great on the mic?
Not anymore, he ain't.
Worst take of the night right there.
Yeah, that's a hard disagree on that one too.
Not anymore. That's because you guys are thinking of all his nostalgic stuff. I'm talking about as of right now, the guy doesn't know if he's coming or going.
A year ago, he stood in the ring and said, if someone did that to me, I'd pull my Glock out and I'd put 2 in his forehead.
And then he started having a finger gun.
Yeah, started calling himself Armed Anderson. And he would come out and point at someone and say, that guy's dead. Right?
This was with Cody? That he did this?
This was with Cody.
Oh, yeah? Okay,
yeah.
I don't... okay.
Yeah, sorry, bud. Yeah. Arn Anderson cuts great promos.
Mm-hmm. I
suggest you let that marinate.
Yeah. Whether he fits well with Wardlow is a different subject to talk about. But,
true.
That's right.
All right, next topic.
Give me 1 second, because while we're on Arn Anderson, I wanted to. This isn't the. This is the first picture I can find to show this, so that we can get a content violation for showing blood on screen.
Hey,
it also has Christian Cage in it for I don't know a reason. But that's Arn Anderson at the end of the match. Now he's got a lot of abrasions over here from his fight with Luchasaurus. But all of this blood is supposed to be Luchasaurus's blood that he bit Luchasaurus's thumb off with.
Yeah, because Arn's a cannibal now. Didn't you know?
Sort of off. Not really off.
Put your thumb in my mouth and find out if I'm a cannibal, fella.
Yeah.
And I suggest you let that marinate too.
All right, we'll do. It's simmering. It's good.
No, don't cook it. Don't cook it.
That gets rid of all the good meaty flavor.
That's fair. I'll let it marinate for 24 hours. I must have a lot to think about.
Well, so worst booking decision. booking Arn Anderson to bite off Luchasaurus' thumb. That's a pretty bad one.
Well, mine can't be the whole Jade thing because you did put a compelling argument for why that might continue on with the storyline, and I
It
don't
still
think it's
can
necessarily.
be.
No,
You're a
that's fair, but I
grown-ass
don't think
man.
it's
You have your own
necessary.
damn decision.
No, that makes sense. Sometimes question if I'm a grown ass man or not, but that's neither here nor there.
You are a grown ass child.
Are you a
Grown
grown-ass
ass
boy?
child. Grown ass boy. I'm just a grown ass boy. Grown ass boy. I would most probably have to say yeah, I'm going to probably go with Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Really didn't understand the whole point of doing an unsanctioned match when you're going to continue the feud. That doesn't make sense to me. And then also just worst booking of an ending of a match that I've seen. I mean, mind you, probably the Natalia and Rhea match, but no, I'm gonna go with I'm gonna go with but yeah, I'm gonna go with Adam Cole and Jericho. I found that ending stupid, and the fact that they're still gonna continue it doesn't make sense to me. So therefore, it's worst booking decision. And I don't know, that match doesn't work for them.
I'm going to specifically say, for me, worst booking decision is the ending of that match. Because ref stoppage just doesn't work in my mind for an
unsanctioned wrestling event.
Yeah. The referee is supposed to be there to count just the pin
or submit,
or acknowledge the submission, and neither of those happened. Now, you could have had, Chris Jericho arguably submit. Like he's pounding on the floor in pain, and the ref is like, "Oh, that's a submission," and had this whole argument where Chris Jericho was like, "I didn't submit. I was in pain," or whatever. But you didn't do it. Ref stoppage just makes no sense. I'm also going to say worst booking decision was maybe putting that match second to follow up the Blackjack Battle Royal, because the Blackjack Battle Royal was fire. And whatever followed up the Blackjack Battle Royal was going to be a come down.
I, too, am going to go with a match location. This one's going to be a hot take. Opening with the World Heavyweight Championship first match.
Oh, yeah, that's fair, but it's nothing they could have done with that. Seth had to be back in the States. He had to leave right after his match to film for Captain America. But I do understand why you would say that, because that's kind of weird. No?
Okay. Yeah, no, here's my thing is, like, yeah, I'm going to use my famous "you say that but" phrase. Him leaving 30 minutes later wouldn't have affected things. They've got private flights, right?
Yeah.
No, but I mean, it's still a 12-hour flight anyways, right? Yeah. So depending if he needed to be at the Captain America production studio at like 7 a.m. on Sunday or something, he would have need to have, bounced pretty quickly.
Yeah. I still don't think 30 minutes would have killed it. And so you could have started off with Gunther versus Mustafa Ali. Then did Trish Stratus versus Becky Lynch. And then put the AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins. And I don't think it would have impacted his ability to get to.
I think it told us that it was a secondary title.
Mm-hmm. Also, just more importantly, I mean, I get it. Brock Lesnar's a big star. You want him to be in as close to the main event. But Brock Lesnar also has a long-standing history of, if I'm not the focal point and it's not for a world title, put me on first, man. Give me my paycheck and get me out of there. Right? That's what Brock Lesnar fucking does. So I would have started with Brock versus Cody, personally.
And the only problem I probably have with that is, why are you calling it a triple main event when you have one of those main events to start off your show?
Yeah.
And Brock and Cody was
Yeah.
second last, right? So, like, I don't get why you just... But, of course, Captain America comes first.
Or sometimes not at all. Wait. Yeah, no, that tracks. Okay.
Yep.
So moving on. Finally, worst moment of the weekend. I'm gonna tell you my worst moment of the weekend. When Jeff Jarrett came in and hit someone with the guitar, and I thought for a moment that Jeff Jarrett was going to win the tag team championships for AEW in the year of our Lord 2023. That was my worst moment of the weekend. I was seriously thinking I was going to have to find a table to flip.
Yeah, Mark Briscoe did pretty good, though, as a referee.
Mark Briscoe did pretty good. There was just a moment during that match I was like, oh, fuck. They're going to give Jeff Jarrett the championship. And then we're going to see this.
Listening to commentary talk about how wonderful Saudi Arabia is.
Don't forget progressive.
City of the future. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. How long do they have until 2027? I think it is. Unless they extended the contracts or whatever.
So you think that contract doesn't get renewed? You are crazy with the amount of money that they pay.
Yeah. The only reason it doesn't get renewed is if Saudi Arabia decides not to.
Yeah, that's it.
Because if Saudi Arabia offers the money, WWE takes it and runs, especially under Endeavor.
While JLB's thinking, have you tried the SOB at Bronco?
No, not yet.
Oh my god!
I don't.
One at a time, buddy. Go get it.
I don't actually get to Bronco super often. There's not much there that my wife likes to eat, and so and you've been married, so you know. The where do you want to eat? I don't know. Where do you want to eat? No, honey. Where do you want to eat? Because
I can eat anything.
Yeah. Here's the way the game's going to go. I'm going to name something. You're going to then say, no, I don't feel like that, or no, I don't like that. And then I'm going to say, well, then where do you want to eat? And then you're going to say, I don't know. And then I'm going to name another place. And then you're going to say, nah, I'm not feeling like that. And then I'm going to say, okay, where do you want to eat? So let's just cut through it all and understand I am a human trash compactor. I put food in my mouth, I chew it, and I swallow it, and I can do that at any restaurant. And so I need you to tell me which one of these restaurants am I going to today. Yeah, 2027 is when the deal is currently set to expire.
Okay, yeah. Unless Saudi Arabia decides to extend. And
importantly, they already have extended it once because the original deal was announced in 2018 and then extended through 2027. So it was originally just a short-term deal that then got turned into
5-year originally.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, but then the pandemic happened, so they extended it probably.
But
worst moment, I'm probably gonna get some heat for this. Probably, I did enjoy it, but I thought it was really silly. Still, the super kick spark.
That's gotta be against the rules. I've seen the video of it.
well, the thing is, like,
It was an anarchy match, right?
Anarchy in the
Anything
Arena,
goes,
there
so-
are no
Yeah.
rules.
No, but JR, it's gotta be against the rules.
I understand what you're saying. For me, I'm gonna spoil things. That's my OMG moment of the weekend.
Okay.
Because if you watch my live reaction, I literally sat here dumbfounded for like 30 seconds
Right.
because I couldn't process what I just saw.
Yeah.
I'm like,
It's an electric kick.
what the fuck was that? I don't even know how they did it, right?
No, that's it. I think that's why they took off the shoe right away afterwards too, though, because they're like, I don't know,
Probably,
like-
but he had to walk down the ramp in that shoe.
Shoot, it looked
Yeah,
like it
but-
was farther on into the match.
It was.
I didn't watch.
but
I didn't see how far
it was
But
almost
so-
at the
so-
end.
It was
like
towards
almost
the
the
end.
end.
But here's the deal: is there's a reason that I don't do that, because what happened was there was a spot that took place outside where he ended up getting power slammed or something in a
Into
truck
the,
bed, pickup
yeah.
bed outside by Cesaro or Claudio, I guess. I should call him the official name, Claudio Castagnoli, since I'm wearing his shirt.
That's fair. Yep.
And then Claudio made his way back into the ring. And Nick Jackson was getting beat up, and they're like, where is Matt Jackson? And then Matt Jackson starts hobbling in. So, from a realistic standpoint, what probably happened is they planned that whole spot with the pickup truck to give them time to then gimmick his shoe.
Right.
So he didn't have to wear a gimmicked shoe through the first part of the match, and then he could just walk down and deliver the super kick. But still, he had to walk. I mean, that ramp was not a short ramp,
That's fair.
right? Walking from the backstage to the ring was still probably a good 30 yards, right? And then climbing up into the ring, and then setting up for the super kick, and then hitting the super kick. There's a lot of time for that to go wrong.
Right.
And then
He was kind of dragging himself though, too, at the same time. So
And-
maybe he wasn't stepping on a shoe just in case.
maybe, and
kind
then
of thing.
and then how you set the trigger up so it goes off on contact, right? But
Yeah.
doesn't go off when he's walking down to the ring or climbing. Is there a dead man switch somewhere that he's holding on to and he releases when he gets in there? Is there I don't know. I'm dumb fucking founded by it. Anyways, but I understand because it also importantly did look kind of silly.
Right.
I do get it. I understand you calling it worst moment. It's my OMG moment of the night. I'm just giving you the spoiler on it there because of the weekend, it was the only moment that truly made me go,
What?
like secondary Warlow doing the 20-foot swanton bomb on Luchasaurus through the tables. That's up there, right? Chris Statlander showing up and then defeating Jade Cargill in 48 seconds. That's an OMG moment. I understand those, right?
Mhm.
Unfortunately, I don't really have an OMG moment for NXT. Mostly because I'm not super familiar with the storylines that went into it, so nothing really surprised me. Worst moment for me, I've already said, was thinking that Jay Lethal or Jeff Jarrett might actually win
Yeah.
the tag championships.
Yep, you went early on that one.
Yep, I said that. So, did we get everyone's worst moment? Okay.
Yep.
Finally, time to move on to the best moment of the weekend.
I'm going to go with Asuka winning. I didn't see that coming at all, but I fucking loved it because it's about time that, and just how they built that. So she totally missed the mist, right? But then she had put it on her hands. This might even be best booking decision too. She put it on her hands, and then when she went for the KOD, she just touched her. She touched Bianca's face with her hand, and then that's it. So I thought that was actually really well done, and Bianca wasn't ready for Asuka, and I am down for Asuka to keep that title for a while. And here's to hoping that Bianca goes heel at some point
So
soon.
I saw someone tweeting. I never understood how the mist from a wrestler could be devastating when sprayed in the eyes, but not poisonous when held in the mouth. And then I realized it's hot peppers. That's what it is. Because people can eat hot peppers, but you get a little bit in your eye and your day's ruined. Right?
Done. Yep.
Like you can be like, oh, this habanero ghost pepper, jam is awesome. It works really great on my stuff. And I just do like, oh God. Oh God. Oh. Best moment.
Best moment. For an individual moment, Trips holding Seth's hand high. There was a lot of good feeling there. Good feels there.
That was a good one. For me, it's really hard to pick one. And I'm sure you guys played into all of this, but in terms of moments, like Chris Statlander debuting or showing up, and then coming out and winning was a great moment. Seth Rollins winning, great moment. In terms of moments, Jimmy Uso super kicking Roman.
Yeah.
It's a big moment. Really big moment.
And it's kind of, we all maybe saw obviously the fall of the bloodline coming, but yet we were all probably still very shocked that it happened at Night of Champions. We kind of all maybe saw, maybe the Usos might, but we just didn't know. So the fact that they could still pull that off, and we were still all kind of like, oh, it's done. They done did it. It actually happened. And Jimmy was the one to do it. Could have been either or, but Jimmy was the one to do it. And Jay was reluctant and still didn't know what to do. Amazing moment. So yeah,
I was more expecting it to be a deliberate betrayal. Like Jimmy and Jay showing up and being like, we're tired of you pushing us around and trying to make fools of us. And now you come and you want to come into our territory and win tag titles. Well, no, not on our watch. And it wasn't. It was a subtle, a accidental turning, you could almost call it. They accidentally kicked Solo, and then that backed him into a corner that Jimmy saw a way out. I wish I could say a best moment from the NXT show, because I feel like, we're talking about this and it's making it sound like NXT was just horrible, and it wasn't. There were good matches. Carmelo Hayes.
I'm sure there was something in the last man. I'm sure there's something in the last man standing match now.
I mean,
Ilya Dragunov versus Dijak was a fun match.
Squishing Dragunov squishing Dijak's head in the stairs, and then Dijak barely getting the 10 count off of being stacked up by the stairs. Yeah. Like, everything Dragunov did with the stairs to Dijak was great. Dijak wailing on Dragunov with the kendo stick, so much so that he broke the kendo stick on Dragunov.
Mm-hmm. And then just said, fuck it, I'm going to break it the rest of the way.
And Dragunov not giving up. That was a fire match. Mm-hmm. But which of those moments do you choose? The moment gives me a chance outside of there was nothing there except for pride in that match.
Yeah. Well, that's the deal. It's like, and this may come from none of us super familiar with the storylines in NXT right now, right?
Correct.
So I don't know what the build up to this match really was. I don't know what the build up to the Noam Dar versus Dragon Lee match was. I don't really know much of the build up for the Wesley versus Tyler Bate versus Joe Gacy match. I know a little bit of the Gallus versus Creed brothers, but the Creed brothers really do remind me of like a generic creative wrestler in WWE 2K whatever. You know what I mean? Carmelo Hayes versus Braun Breaker, I know the storyline generally, right? Tiffany Stratton defeating Lyra Valkyrie. There was no storyline in that other than they were the finalists in the tournament.
Yes.
Right? And we've talked before about how I'm a storyline guy. So I watched this, and none of these had that big moment that was like a payoff to a storyline or something
Correct.
that really stood out. Whereas Night of Champions was full of storyline moments.
Yes.
Asuka finally getting the win over Bianca in a heel faction, turning full on heel, really tells the thing. We're in for a fun trip with heel Asuka, right?
Yeah.
Out here cheating her way to victories, buzzsaw kicking people, and all that stuff. I'm all for it. The storyline, Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles, was really low, but the fact that it was for this brand new championship gave it a storyline. The fact that it was two of the best wrestlers in the past 20 years makes it a big moment.
And who have previously fought. AJ's last title shot for the Universal title was against
Seth Rollins.
Title.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now he did try to take on Roman at one point, if I remember correctly, but Roman must not have had the title yet, per the storytelling.
Yeah. Brock Lesnar versus Cody had a storyline. Even though that wasn't in any of our picks for best moment, there were big moments to it, right? The betrayal of the bloodline, probably the biggest storyline beat moment of the weekend.
Might be the longest running storyline I've ever seen.
In terms of moments, there were a couple of them in the Anarchy in the Arena match. There were a huge number of them. Like, we could spend an entire podcast episode talking about the Four Pillars match from a moment standpoint. I mentioned before you're going to be a dad. You should lay down. You're going to need the money. I'll take the money. I'll lay down moment. We could talk about Darby Allin promising going into the match that he was going to beat MJF with a headlock takeover, hitting MJF with coffin drop, and then instead of pinning him, picking him up and doing a headlock takeover to go for the pin and not getting the 3 count, probably because he didn't pin him right after the coffin drop. His own hubris of, I'm going to beat you with your move, was what cost him that match. Jungle Boy deciding not to cheat. He had the belt and he could have cheated and tried to win the match with the belt, but he chose not to. And that cost him his shot at at that moment. There are a lot of moments in that.
All 4 wrestlers doing their idols' finishers. You know what I mean? That was really awesome to see. The Canadian Destroyer bonanzas on top of that. Jesus Christ.
The moment when all 4 wrestlers had each other locked into a submission maneuver.
Right. That was cool.
It was a Ouroboros of a human centipede of submission maneuvers going on right there. Ouroboros is an old thing of the snake eating itself, so that's why it's a circle. So it's a human centipede circle. Anyway,
it's a circle.
It's a circle. All of these are big moments. Chris Statlander coming back and everything, huge moment. Orange Cassidy winning the 21-man battle royal in a way that made him look strong, not cowardly. Like, they could have told a storyline of him like cowardly hiding the entire time and then
Right.
finally getting involved at the end to win. But they didn't. He was out there actively trying to win, trying to beat as many people as he could. You know, and he did. He did a really good job on it, you know. So there are a lot of those things, and unfortunately NXT just didn't have any that I would say were like storyline big moments. Moving on, breakout star of the weekend.
I've said this once before, and I feel terrible saying the same name again. So I'm going to double check, see if anything really makes my mind go somewhere else. Okay, it does. There is one that makes my mind go somewhere else. So I was going to say Ilya Dragunov, because I have seen yet another 5-star match out of him that just makes me go, what in the fuck, man? But instead, I'm going to give it to Mustafa Ali.
For making a stand versus Gunther.
It was a great match.
Yeah, I was really surprised that they gave him a lot of offense in that
Surprise
match, and I
and
get
surprise.
it. Exactly.
Supplies, motherfucker. Some fries, motherfucker.
Those guys, motherfucker.
Disguise, motherfucker.
Blue skies, motherfucker.
Sablu. None of them are really breakout stars per se, but I probably am going to go it's going to sound really weird because he's the champion. But MJF for just keeping up with that pillar match between Jungle Boy, Sammy, and Darby. MJF looked gold in that match. He just keeps continuing to just be better in the ring every match he does. And he gets even harder matches as it goes on. We've seen that ever since he wrestled CM Punk. And then, going forward with Daniel Bryan or Bryan Danielson. So dare I say the AEW World Champion, MJF.
So, you can say it. Because kind of like the same sort of thing. Like, there's part of me that wants to say Orange Cassidy because he looked like a fucking star, but it's hard to say that when he's already at the level that he's at. You know what I mean? Is he the breakout star? I will say that from NXT, you could make an argument that Tiffany Stratton breakout star of the night, if
That's
only because she was kind of a nobody. We really didn't know much of her, and now she's the NXT World Champion. And that kind of makes her that's the most definition of breakout star. You know what I mean? The person that you really didn't know, who comes out and puts on a performance and does it. I could make an argument for Chris Statlander, breakout star of the night, because she came out and beat the champ in 48 seconds, and she is now the one in 60-1.
Yeah, that's a great argument for Chris Statlander, yeah.
But who I'm going to say is Wheeler Yuta.
I gotta hear it. I mean, The highlights I saw had him in it, but I got to hear why.
Wheeler Yuta is the only person from that
Wasn't
entire
bleeding.
match who didn't bleed. Wheeler Yuta is the one who got the pin at the end
Yep.
on Kenny Omega, I believe.
Yep.
Was who took the pin.
The Twitter sphere went crazy over that. They were like, "What? Why you make you to get the pin?" Du-du-du-du-du."
Yeah, and I mean, you could make the argument that is the definition of breakout star. You know what I mean? That they purposefully put him out there to be the one who gets elevated the most by that position. That everyone talked about Wheeler Yuta as like the tag along boy to the Blackpool Combat Club. You know, you got Claudio, you got Bryan Danielson, you got Moxley. Oh, and there's Wheeler Yuta, right? And for him to come along and legitimately be the only one to escape unscathed, and it's not like he didn't like take moves or anything like that. You know what I mean? It's not like he didn't get hit. But in the end, he was the one who came out of it looking like a fucking rock star, getting the pin and being the badass. So I think that's my argument for him as a breakout star.
That's a fair argument.
Now, do I think this is done between Blackpool Combat Club and the Elite? No, not at all.
Especially not after freaking
The
Takeshita
Don
came out.
And Takeshita thing at the end. That definitely plays into it. That puts Blackpool Combat Club effectively up to 5 people. The Elite is only at 4 people, but there's a 5th person as a potential option.
Oh no, Hangman was in it.
Hangman was in it. The 5th person is a potential Kota Ibushi, who's a free agent right now and is actively negotiating with both companies. And I can't help but feel like they might be aiming towards a blood and guts match between the two.
Shoot, yeah. Take my money.
As long as it's on pay-per-view.
Yep.
Oh yeah, it would be at Forbidden Door.
It'd be probably at Forbidden Door, or if they put it out long enough. I mean, a blood and guts match at Wembley would be fucking fire, but I don't think they want to do a double ring at Wembley. So Forbidden Door would be the better option. So, but yeah, no, that was my thing with Wheeler Yuta.
Oh, that's a good argument, though. If you're going to pin Kenny Omega, you got to be in the run for breakout star.
That being said, Matt Jackson's left foot, not only did it deliver the sparking super kick, but it then took a pile of thumbtacks.
It did, yep.
Okay,
moving on. I think this one will be easy for those of us who watched AEW. Best line.
Best line.
This is the one that I always joke about taking out or talk about taking out. But this week, best line has a hands down winner in my book. I think JLB will agree.
JLB doesn't know what you're talking about. I'm trying to remember.
As soon as I say it, JLB will know what I'm talking
I'll be like,
about. I believe it went something like this. And Buddy Matthews trying to standing there looking so ominous. How you getting cucked by a boy named Dominic?
Dominic, yeah. Great rap.
And the crowd
the
went,
Twitter went crazy.
Oh!
That's a throwback.
And Rhea and Dominic even commented on Twitter, "Hey, look, we're being talked about on both shows."
Yes. We're over on 2 shows.
I'm not sure if Buddy Matthews' comments towards all of what's going on there on Twitter is just playing into character or a hint of jealousy. Because Dominic is engaged, and obviously there's nothing going on there, but you just never know with Buddy Murphy. He always comments on it, so I'm just like, man,
Yeah,
give it a break. It's fine. She loves you. But yeah, no, that's definitely would be the line of the night for sure. Or
Faux
also
shizzle.
Faux shizzle. Or also JR randomly saying, "Oh, what an idiot!" Like I think I think there was a fan or something that passed by the commentary booth or something, because he said, "Oh, what an idiot," in a random moment where nothing was really happening in the ring. And it's just one of those JR classic outbursts.
well, it could be due to the fact that for the first time, as far as I can remember with AEW, they put the announcer's desk ringside.
Right.
In the WWE spot.
That's it.
Because AEW has pretty consistently put it up on the ramp, right? Up at the entrance.
Yeah.
Which is something that I do know that Tony Schiavone has talked about. He prefers, because he says, I'm commentator for the TV audience. I don't need to be able to actually see the ring because I'm calling what we see on the monitor.
TV.
Right? The stuff that's going out. And so I'm supposed to be the voice for the people watching, not the people in the arena. So I don't need to see the thing. I prefer to call it from farther away. But it does lead to the fact that AEW does not typically have announcer desk spots, because it's really a lot more difficult to work an announcer desk spot when the announcer desk is clear the fuck up there. So, there were announcer desk spots in Double or Nothing because it was right there at ringside. So,
yeah.
Anyway,
although Sabu chose to use a table.
Best line. Man.
While you're thinking, I just think of one more thing that I want to mention for Breakout Star of the Night. This is one that's really hard to say it's a Breakout Star because, well, when I say it, you'll be... but fucking daddy ass himself, Billy Gunn, looked like a fucking champ out there in the tag match, the trios match. Came in a House of Fire, looked really good, despite the fact that he is... checking my thing. Oh, really old.
Yeah, no, he's in great shape though for just for his age for sure, but just in general. I mean, Road Dogg is younger than Daddy Ass, but Road Dogg's been a producer for like ever now.
59
and hasn't kept in shape. So, but Road Dogg looks so much older than Billy Gunn. So, any lines coming to mind?
It's got to be just Jimmy talking to Jay. I mean, that's really all you got for fan lines. Graves didn't have anything really coy or interesting to say. I mean, he had
doing what we should have done a long time ago.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
Or MJF's
MJF's what was it? He was like, "Oh shit!" When I think it was Darby. What was the move? But it was a very vocal. It was very vocal when he was gonna get hit with the move.
The one that I'm thinking of, they were setting up for kind of a Tower of Doom spot in the corner. So, what was it? Someone was on the corner. Someone went up to do a Hurricane Rana off them. And then, like, Sammy Guevara came in and turned it into a suplex that then took out MJF in the ring. And someone put together online, like, a 2-minute-long supercut of just MJF saying shit like, "Oh, shit. I'm coming for you. Fuck off. Take this," or whatever.
I just came for you.
Yeah. Yeah, do it. Another honorable mention for me for best line, and it's not really a specific line, it's the repeated lines from Jim Ross not understanding why a bunch of people were not entering the ring at the beginning of the Battle Royal. Because he was just like, "Well, I don't understand why they're not getting in there. You can't win the match until you're in the ring. You also can't lose the match until you're in the ring." Right? And that's the whole point. Their strategy was, I'm going to hang out here for a bit. The two specifics of it that did the hangout outside was Brian Cage and Swerve Strickland. They both hung out outside. Some other people did too, but they were the big ones. They hung out outside until they spotted a good moment to get in, and came in and tried to make a big deal out of it. So, best performance of the night.
Jimmy. I was sold on him actually being frustrated.
So we still have a match, right? Best performance. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to agree with Fabe on this one. I haven't mentioned the Bloodline match for very much of my picks. That was a great way to break up the Bloodline a little bit more. I really enjoyed Jimmy, and then him commenting with his brother, like, we should have done the. I should have. I'm doing what you should have done. Da, 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 da. Like, it was just fantastic. I can't wait till SmackDown. I'm excited.
Best performance of the weekend. It's really tough because I do honestly think it's on the show that I didn't watch, and it's either Jimmy for the Bloodline storyline, or I could argue that it's between the two of them in the Seth Rollins versus AJ Styles match, in terms of performance. But I didn't see
honestly, it wasn't AJ. I felt AJ looked tired in that match. No, I felt he looked like exhausted. He wasn't into it. Tonight on Raw, he seemed like he was good to go and ready. But with the Seth Rollins match, I felt like AJ was just kind of out of it. I thought he did good. The match was still awesome, but I felt like I didn't get the best AJ I could have. He seemed tired to me. I don't know what it was. Maybe, I don't know, it was the heat or something. I don't know. But, like, he just seemed a little out of it than usual. No? Not getting that vibe?
I can't
I
say
don't
so.
get that vibe. I
really
enjoyed that match a
so
ton.
far.
In fact, he was in such dominant control for a significant portion of the match that.
No, he was. He just seemed, and I just imagined maybe he was just tired because after getting that super reverse DDT from the top rope there from Seth and all that. But I don't know. He seemed like he was a little bit out of it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. Maybe a little crazy on that one. But I just gotta like today he looked spot on, ready to go, excited on Raw. Like he was good. I don't know. I just got he was a little bit slower than usual on Night of Champions. And I just maybe had thought maybe that's something to do with. I think it's his first time there in Saudi Arabia. No, on one of the Saudi pay-per-views, and maybe he just wasn't taking the heat and all that, being in an outdoor arena and all that. So I'm just not sure. I don't know. Maybe I'm completely wrong in that regard, but that's the little vibe I got.
Can I make a joke about best performance of the weekend actually happened an indeterminate amount of time before, but led to the reveal of Sammy Guevara and Ty Mello being expecting? Because his performance was an indeterminate time ago. But obviously it was good.
Great performance. Done did the deed.
It was at least one of those little swimmers was really good.
Yep. That's it. Oh, Jesus.
Okay, next one.
Moving on. Underhype of the weekend. The easy one from AEW would be Chris Statlander because it literally was not hyped at all, and she came in and destroyed. We'll kind of get that one out of the way, because it's an easy option. I am going to myself say, for me, underhype of the weekend was probably the Blackjack Battle Royal, because it was just announced like a week ago, and we only found out all the members of the Blackjack Battle Royal on Friday.
Yeah, but they usually keep that hidden. So are they not doing the suits anymore? It's not a thing.
That's a different one. That's the
That's in
Black, because what did they call that one? It's slightly
Casino
different.
Royale or something.
The Casino Royale match, because that's one where they come in spaced out like Royal Rumble. This was just a Battle Royal.
Okay. Underhype. I'm probably going to have to say Trish and Becky. That match turned to be better than I truly expected. Because I mean, I was excited for Asuka and Bianca and all that, but Trish and Becky was actually pretty decent for what I thought was just going to be a really lame match that I didn't care about. But having Zoe Starks in that matchup ended up being pretty cool. So probably I would go with Trish and Becky Lynch was underhyped. Underhype of the night.
Interesting. Ilya Dragunov and Dominic Dijak.
That was going to be my other potential one, because they just like announced it a week ago.
Yeah.
And I don't know if there's any storyline behind it at all.
Utter annihilation of each other.
Well, with those two, I don't think you need a storyline. They both can just fucking go. And I definitely got to watch that match.
But like, for AEW, I can't say the Anarchy in the Arena match is underhyped at all, because it's been all they fucking talked about the last 2 weeks. Same with the way with the Four Pillars match. I could say. Go ahead.
Sorry.
Yeah, I could maybe say the House of Black open house rules, because it was an open challenge. We didn't know who the parties would be in it. So those would definitely be options for underhype.
Maybe even FTR and Lethal and Jarrett. That was still a kind of that was still a fun match. I didn't expect to really care about that match at all, but I just didn't care for the whole storyline with Mark Briscoe and being the referee and all that. But it turned out to be at least a little bit better than I expected, at least. And thank God FTR won.
But I think Dijak versus Ilya Dragunov is probably the underhype of the weekend. OMG moment. I've already told you my OMG moment. The sparkle kick.
Yeah, sparkle kick. I probably would have. Go ahead.
Jimmy super kick. Jimmy super kick. Oh my God, he did it! Oh, oh.
What happened? What?
Jimmy
That he
super
actually
kick.
kicked Roman.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that's I definitely let out.
Also,
an, oh
there
my
were
God.
gobs in that Dijak and Dragunov match. I'm sorry, when he smashed his head between the two stairs, I was like,
Oh, just looking at this. I have to temporarily jump back to Breakout Star of the Night because there's another nominee I want to put out there, and that's Big Bill.
Oh.
Fucking, they made him look like a monster in that battle royal. That he really like. I didn't know how anyone was going to eliminate him, and they made him look actually really good. So, anyways, best move of the night. We're on the home stretch, guys.
best move.
Oh, we temporarily lost DA Fabe, I think. Oh, I think he's back.
There you go. He's back.
Sorry.
Oh,
I didn't cut. I just didn't realize I'd been lost. Best move. Mustafa Ali's 450 splash. Twice.
I'm gonna go
It's
with
beautiful every time.
it is beautiful every time. He has it down to perfection. I did not watch it.
You didn't watch Mustafa Ali?
No, I was gonna say I did not watch the NXT pay-per-view, but holy shit, does Stratton have a beautiful moonsault? I was in love with that moonsault that she had did to win the. I think she ultimately won with that. But towards I think we lost Fabe again. Towards ones I did watch, I think I'm gonna have to go with the either the Four Pillars doing their legendary wrestlers moves or the whole counter with the Canadian Destroyer. That's just always fun to watch, and all those three guys, including MJF, were killing it. So I feel like everyone's frozen.
No, I'm not frozen.
No, there you go. There you go.
I'm for the most part kind of agreeing. I'm just looking here. It's really tough to limit it, especially when you look at the
I mean, there's so many. There's so many, right? There's Wardlow's Swanton.
Do we have DA Fabe back
There
now?
we go. No, I guess we don't. We did.
I think he's in with just audio only because he's on his mobile phone now. It's really tough. Like the four pillars match, there's a whole bunch of great moves, and any one of them you could argue was best move. But if we're talking single move, and we're really talking single move, just from a beauty standpoint, it's hard to not say the Wardlow Swanton. It was a thing of beauty. Commander's rope walk moonsault.
Oh, yeah. Which got him eliminated.
No, the first one didn't, because he did it once before he had stepped in the ring,
Right.
So they made sure to point out he'd never entered the ring, so he wasn't. But then he tried to do it again after he'd already been in the ring, and someone was like, "Nope,
Bill was
get
the
out
one
of
that
here."
pushed him. I think Bill got the most eliminations in that match, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me. I was trying to find a breakdown of the eliminations. This site doesn't have it on here, so. Anyways, the Swanton though is just an absolute thing of beauty. For a big guy like that to do this beautiful Swanton.
3 people were holding the ladder. It was 2 referees and Arn.
Yeah,
we were holding the ladder.
You got to, because you can't have that ladder shifting at the last second.
For sure.
But just so...
I'm going to turn off my mic because you may hear in the background why I lost connection. It's freaking pouring here.
It's okay.
So I'll turn it on when I speak.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it's...
You're going with Swanton? You got to pick one. You got to pick one.
Swanton's probably my biggest one. The in the 4 Pillars match, the paying homage to their mentors one was a great moment, though.
That was really
but
cool.
I think in terms of...
So what were the individual moves?
So Darby hit the Scorpion Death Drop. Sammy hit the Code Breaker.
The Code Breaker,
Jungle Boy hit the Unprettier, whatever.
The Impaler,
whatever they call it now.
And MJF hit the
and MJ hit
Cody Cutter.
The Crossroads.
Crossroads, that's it.
Yeah, I couldn't think of the name. It's
it's been the storyline, their favorite historical wrestlers.
Exactly.
Well, it's also the ones that they literally had in storyline mentor them at one point.
Yes. Yep. Okay.
And so they each hit their mentors. Because storyline wise, a couple weeks ago, MJF was all trying to brag about how all these other people needed help from a legend to get them where they are. You needed Sting to get you there. You were riding Jericho's coattails. You needed Christian to come and take you to the top. And they were like, you literally had a whole thing with Cody Rhodes being his protege. I don't talk about that. So doing that was a fun moment. MJF using Chris Candido's blonde bombshell powerbomb was actually kind of nice too. There were a lot of those little like callbacks to other things. Of course, Darby Allin did a Scorpion Deathlock on Jungle Boy, and Sammy Guevara had MJF in the Lion Tamer.
Yeah.
Actually, it was by that point it was the Walls of Jericho. He'd fully stepped over. Anyways, so Lion Tamer, you put your knee in their back. But all of these little callbacks to things were fun in it. But I in terms of singular best move, it was the Swanton in my opinion.
If you're gonna watch an AEW match, no, we
haven't. My best move was Mustafa Ali's twice hitting the 450.
That's correct. You're right. Okay, best booking decision of the weekend.
God, there were gobs of them. Just gobs of them. Plethora. I think the wisest for NXT was Braun Breaker losing again. In terms of long term. But I think the best booking decision was title changes in Saudi Arabia.
You could make a very good argument for that.
I think it was
up until now. We even talked about it on the podcast the other day. Up until now, the Saudi show was kind of seen as a throwaway show. Because
they ran a promo about it not being the prime, just kind of a throw together show.
Yeah, because prior to this, almost nothing of import happened at Saudi Arabia. And we said, we're guaranteed to get a new world heavyweight title because that's a vacant title. But there are 3 other singles titles and a tag title on the line at this pay-per-view.
And they were actually on the line.
And they actually, were on the line and felt like
now, Rhea's wasn't really on the line.
No.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
It was kind of the same thing. I mentioned in an AEW match that they made me believe that they might do it sometime. Mustafa Ali and Gunther's match was not a squash match by any means. There were moments that you were like, could they maybe be? And then having Asuka actually beat Bianca meant there was an actual title change at the pay-per-view, which then meant that for the rest of the night, we're like, is Roman going to get the victory over Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn? Maybe.
I would even
as soon as you saw Usos come out, you were just like, "Oh, here we go again." But
this is where they do the whole squash thing.
Fabe, you there? Fabe was going to say something.
Oh, I was gonna make a pun. It was intended. I was gonna say that Jimmy's kick was a hell of a kick. But it wasn't a hell of a kick. Anyway, I want to hear your booking decisions.
So mine for the weekend, I've got an AEW one, I've got an NXT one. The NXT one is going to either be best booking decision or a not best booking decision, but we won't know for a while. But that's Tiffany Stratton winning the NXT Women's Championship.
Shit. That's a shit decision. They should have put it on Cora Jade. Sorry, go on.
No, the reason I'm going to tell you why I believe it could be, and that's why I say it could be the best booking decision. It might not. The problem is right now in the NXT Women's division, you have 2 names and then a bunch of like. You could argue
they added another name by
if you talk about Gigi Dolan and JC Jane, they're in their own thing. But they needed to establish some new top of the card names, right? Because like I said, both of us expected it to be Roxanne Perez versus Cora Jade, and then one of them win.
Well, yeah. I mean, those are the 2 names. They just stole Indy Hartwell and Zoe Stark.
Yep.
So, yeah, I guess I get what you're saying.
And so this was obviously now in hindsight a calculated move to put new names in the main event scene. And that's both Tiffany Stratton and Laya Valkyria up to the top of the card, right? As real contenders, right? Because they had to give Laya Valkyria wins over Kiana James and Cora Jade before she made it to this match. Tiffany Stratton had to beat Gigi Dolan and Roxanne Perez before she got to this match. So that establishes both of these people as real contenders. And now Tiffany Stratton at the top, we will see over the course of this next few months whether she can carry the company or not. Right. So it might,
especially for a company that's lost its last 3 champions. Well, Roxanne Perez hasn't been lost since she was one of those champions. Mm-hmm. But with losing Mandy Rose, with losing Indy, with losing a multi-time number 1 contender in Zoe Stark, yeah, I mean, you lost a lot there.
You also lost one of your top tag teams in Katana Chance and Kevin Carter.
Yeah.
Who, by the way, got a vignette on Raw tonight. announcing that they are the party animals that are going to be coming to Raw soon. I don't know why they're giving them that.
Oh, good. They're giving them a gimmick of party animals. Great.
Yeah, that makes me a little bit skeptical.
They played Ultimate Underdog so well.
Mm-hmm. But anyways, so that's why I say that potentially could be one of the best booking decisions, but it also could blow up in their face if she can't handle the top, if she can't consistently feel like a top dog. For Double or Nothing, for AEW, I think I'm gonna say the best booking decision was having the Four Corners match, the Four Pillars match, be almost the main event, but not the main event. And I'm gonna tell you why. They even asked MJF about it in the media scrum. Were you angry that you weren't the final thing of the night? And he's like, no. You think I want to roll around in Jon Moxley's blood? You think I want to roll around in Wheeler Yuta's blood? And then someone had to tell him, Wheeler Yuta didn't bleed at all. He's like, oh, really? And so
with so much blood out there, I thought all of them did.
Yeah. And so to have it be, I mean, it still felt like the main event. It really felt like Anarchy in the Arena was tacked on at the end. Like, this is the bonus match. This is the match. This is the lights out match. The match after the show is over,
Thank God the unsanctioned match didn't end it. That would have been freaking horrible.
Yeah.
And I think that's why they had it a second, because they fucking knew we can't have this last.
Frankly, if the kickoff show match had been not shitty, I would have said the unsanctioned match should have been on the kickoff show and then put that. But the kickoff match was shitty, so it deserved to be on the kick. It frankly could have gone without that match, to be perfectly honest.
Well, now Ethan Page is part of. Now Matt Hardy owns Ethan Page, so is the storyline there, right?
Yeah.
So,
I guess. So finally, the final category, match of the weekend. So we've got.
I'm torn. I'm torn between the Four Pillars and Seth and AJ.
So I feel like there is two that I watched that as a match they were phenomenal. And a third as a storytelling event was one of the greatest storytelling events possibly, and it'll take time to know, in WWE history. The one that's one of the greatest storytelling events in WWE history was, again, the bloodline falling apart over an extended amount of time has been fantastic. It's not Owen turning on Brett and then the throw in the towel match or anything like that. So it hasn't happened instantaneously anywhere. And I think that's beautiful, because that's what happens in real family relationships, is things don't just automatically fall apart all at one time. There's these little digs and this little thing that happens and this little thing. And so I think that's the, in terms of the match of the night, in terms of storytelling, it's very difficult to beat that match. That said, in-ring work, Seth and AJ and Ilya Dragunov, Dijakovic, were fantastic. I have to give it to Seth and AJ because it's a traditional wrestling match, and Ilya Dragunov and Dijak, that had a gimmick that helped it, because as we all know, last man standing matches are almost always good matches. There's almost always a level of brutality that you go, oh my god. So I'm going to give it to Seth and AJ because they put on a fire match and it was a traditional style match. There was nothing really crazy there. Seth overcoming the grit aspect. This may have been the best WWE pay-per-view of the year, and that stings. But yeah,
So, like I said, I think there are lots of potentials for this. But I think I agree with JLB that the match of the weekend was the Four Pillars match.
it was better. So you guys are saying it was better than the Anarchy in the Arena match?
Yes.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes.
Wow.
Anarchy in the Arena match was crazy fun. But it also was messy and
Anarchy.
And anarchy. And I think the Anarchy in the Arena match, and some people might disagree with me on this, I think it would have been better had it not ended the way that it did.
I think it was a pretty good ending, though, considering Takeshita turned heel, and on the Elite, I thought that was pretty good. It got a lot of people talking.
I'm not angry with Takeshita turning heel. I'm not angry with Wheeler Yuta getting the pin. It's the Don Callis involvement part that I think really brought it down. Because here's the deal, it slowed down the finish, right? So Kenny Omega's getting ready to hit I think it was Wheeler Yuta with the one-winged angel. And then Don Callis starts creeping into the ring like a vaudeville villain, right, with the screwdriver in one hand, and he's sneaking up behind Kenny Omega. And then Kenny Omega drops Wheeler Yuta and turns around. And they have this face off and all this stuff. It brought this match that had built up this head of steam to a screeching halt for this weird face off.
Yeah, it did look a little weird when he just dropped him like that, but okay. Yeah.
And this screeching halt. Also, and this is the real thing though. I still think the Four Pillars match would have been match of the night for AEW, even if they changed the finish. I would prefer Don Callis's betrayal to take place outside of the ring, maybe even just as a distraction, while then Takeshita shows up inside the ring and hits him or something. It was the whole cartoony sneaking into the ring that got me. But there were a lot of points in it, even on the live stream I did, that I said the problem is the Blackpool Combat Club. I almost called them Bullet Club. The Blackpool Combat Club looked way too dominant for most of that match.
They did,
and there were multiple times that I was just sitting here and I would just say they need to do something to get the shine back on the Elite, to put them back in the spotlight again for a minute and have them look like they've got the upper hand. And every time they started to do that, for instance, the Sparkles kick, right? They did this, they had them come in and they looked like they were going to turn the corner. And 30 seconds later, Blackpool Combat Club was back in control, took the shoe off and did the thumbtack spot on the foot, right?
Right.
And so every time that it looked like Blackpool Combat Club was getting was going to get taken down a notch and the Elite was going to get their heat back, they doused it, and that's where it kind of fell short to me. I wish there had been a little bit more of a back and forth in it instead of a Blackpool Combat Club and then they nope. It just looked like stumbles instead of an actual back and forth, I guess is what I mean.
I mean, maybe it was better than the first Anarchy match, but regardless of whatever would have happened with that match, honestly, if you're going to watch one match from AEW, honestly, this Double or Nothing probably wasn't the best AEW pay-per-view of the year. It might be the worst, perhaps, AEW pay-per-view of the year.
It might be.
No,
I'm going to say it now. I don't know. Did we all get our match of the weekends in? I want to make sure.
Well,
Seth and AJ for me. Yeah.
Okay. And the thing is, I can't specifically speak on Seth and AJ since I didn't see the whole match. I am looking up on like Bleacher Report and their rankings, and not that Bleacher Report is the be all end all, and they know anything.
Didn't they give it an A+?
They gave it an A. They
gave Ilya, or they gave Ilya Dragunov an A+, and they gave Walter and Mustafa an A+.
Really?
No, not Bleacher Report.
Oh.
Bleacher Report gave Gunther and Mustafa a B-.
Wow.
But again, they're just one set of votes, and you know, I'm not saying they're the be all end all on it. So they gave the Seth versus AJ an A. Bleacher Report gave the 4 Pillars match an A+. That's not necessarily saying that it's hands down the better one. I mean, that's just saying in their opinion. I can't speak for any of the Night of Champions because I didn't watch that. I can say, in my opinion, of the matches that I saw, the 4 Pillars match was the one that I choose as match of the weekend.
God, I can't wait to watch them.
It was there was not a moment in this match.
By the way, a move we missed. Sammy Guevara Spanish flying Darby Allin outside of the ring onto the other Jungle Boy and MJF.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I had just watched that again, and I'm like, I totally forgot that happened. That's so many crazy OMG moments in this match.
So many crazy moments.
So many.
And also, there wasn't a moment during the match that I said, like I said during the Blackpool Combat Club versus the Elite, there wasn't a moment during this match at all where I said, "Oh, I think they've lost their shine." Everyone came out of this thing looking like a fucking star. Every story piece to it was perfect. Darby not getting the victory because his hubris of I told MJF I would beat him with the headlock takeover, and I'm gonna beat him with the headlock takeover, and then he didn't, and that's the reason he didn't win. It's a great storytelling point. I know I gave him crap for his acting, but Sammy Guevara saying that he'd take the money that he'd lay down for MJF, and then as soon as MJF went to cover him, he tried to roll him up and get the pin. Storytelling moment. Every single moment of this. It was. You
came away believing all 4 of them could be world champions at some point?
Yes. 100%. Yeah. I came away believing that all 4 of them are contenders. All 4 of them looked like they could win. And I know I know JLB chose MJF winning as the most predictable moment of the weekend. I'm gonna say there were parts in this that I thought any single one of those people could have won. There was a moment I thought that I thought Sammy Guevara was about to win. Like literally, I'm sitting here going, "Is Sammy gonna get this?" There was a moment I mentioned with Darby Allin that he hit the coffin drop, and I'm like, all you have to do is pin him, and then he pulled him up to do the headlock takeover. And he still got a 2 3/4 count out of it, right? There was the moment where I thought Jungle Boy was about to win, and so every single one of them looked strong and looked like they might win it. And I said it going into it. I really do think Sammy Guevara, if he just puts on a little bit of bulk, would be believable. I think the one thing that holds Sammy Guevara back is his physique. Not that he's not in great shape. He's in phenomenal shape, but he looks like a cruiserweight.
Yeah.
And when you're standing in there next to MJF, who looks like a heavyweight, and Jack Barry, Jungle Boy, who looks like a heavyweight now. Jungle Boy's put on some bulk, right? Sammy Guevara, from a physique standpoint, still looks like a cruiserweight, and that's the only problem I have with that. Darby Allin looks like a cruiserweight, but he's got that gimmick of like the goth kid that's scary, right? So you can believe it. So that's but again, I can't speak for Night of Champions. I might someday watch the AJ Styles versus Seth Rollins and go, oh nope, that was the better match. I don't know. But of the matches I saw, this one was the one that made me go, yeah, match of the weekend. However, and now I'm going to get to the meat and potatoes of this thing. AEW Double or Nothing was not show of the weekend. It was not the best show of the weekend.
And you only watched NXT against it.
And I only watched NXT against it, but I heard enough about Night of Champions to know that top to bottom, Night of Champions was the best show.
I would say NXT was good. It was a B show. Night of Champions was. I'm not joking when I say it was the pay-per-view of the year for WWE so far.
I would almost, yeah. I mean, that makes it just because it had story. That's what we were missing, and we never saw that in a Saudi Arabia show. I mean, aside from the Rhea match and maybe the Trish match, Trish and Becky was still decent though, but everything else aside from that, the Ali and Gunther was fun enough. And I think just us finally getting the beginning of the end of the bloodline was also very cool.
Does it seem like we get the beginning of the end of the bloodline a lot?
Yeah, I know.
That's how much they're taking this out. Like it's starting to happen. It's starting. Oh, it's going to happen. Oh,
even
it's
now,
going to happen.
I think even now Jimmy is still going to be kind of off and on. He might somewhat apologize, or Jay might apologize for him, like kind of how they still been playing that. Because I think this is going to last until they do.
I think it's SummerSlam. I think it's August.
I maybe think it's Money in the Bank. I think they might. I don't think it's going to be that long. I think Money in the Bank is coming up, right? So Money in the Bank is maybe when they might officially do the turn. So yeah, you might be right. SummerSlam is probably when the full-fledged bloodline is done, even including Solo. I think bloodline by SummerSlam is all done.
Here's what it comes down to. Bloodline won't be officially done until Roman's no longer champ. So, as long as he's champ, now, one of the things that might happen is the Usos costing him a championship. You know what I mean? Because they've been one of the reasons he's won matches. So if they force him into somehow or another, get him into a singles match for one of the titles, or both of them, at SummerSlam or even at Money in the Bank.
I just want you to know my phone's about to die. So
that's fine. We're almost. I just want to point out, I mentioned Bleacher Report's not the be all end all, but to break things down, their overall grade for Battleground was a B. Their overall grade for AEW Double or Nothing was a C, and their overall grade for Night of Champions was a B+. So they say Night of Champions was the best overall show. And I think that might even be the order that I go in them. I think the problem with Double or Nothing is even though if we limited Double or Nothing to just the same number of matches as like the WWE shows, we could put together a Double or Nothing that was better then.
Yeah.
By eliminating the Adam Cole versus Chris Jericho match, by eliminating the Wardlow versus Christian Cage match, taking the FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett match out, and just getting it down to 6 matches. We have the 4 Pillars match, we have Anarchy in the Arena, we have the Trios match. The
Trios match was pretty good too. That was really fun. Yeah.
The TBS title match, and then the follow-up match that happens, which really doesn't count. So, that puts us at 4. The Battle Royal puts us at 5. And then you put the Jamie Hayter versus Tony Storm match and puts us at 6. If we did those 6 matches versus the 6 matches on either WWE show, I think AEW might be the better show. But those other matches, those other 5 matches on the card,
brought it
we
down.
just lost DFA. Those other 5 matches on the card, bring it down. Just they bring the average down. They ruin the curve, to use a teaching thing. But in terms of the weekend, I think WWE was the best show of the weekend. The one that I didn't watch was probably the best show of the weekend.
Yeah, I've watched between Night of Champions and Double or Nothing. I probably would agree that Night of Champions was just better overall matches. Honestly, if it wasn't for the last 2 matches on Double or Nothing really wouldn't have been anything to talk about. Sure, Statlander was cool, but really the last 2, the pillars, it really made what all the wrestling dirt sheets are making Dynamite even have a Double or Nothing even have a C, because the pillars match is honestly best match of the weekend, like we were saying. But if it wasn't for that match, this pay-per-view would have been complete garbage. Because Anarchy in the Arena is good, but it's not necessarily it's not a match people are going for. There could only be so much entertainment in that kind of match. But yeah, thank God for the Pillars match, and thank God it was as good as we thought. We knew it was going to be good, but I think it even overdid my expectations of what I thought the Pillars match was going to be, and it went way beyond. It was just fuego, absolute fuego.
Yes. Anyways, well, we've gone 2.5 hours, so let's go ahead and wrap things up for this. That is our review of the 3 pay-per-view or premium live events, whatever you want to call them, of this weekend. And surprisingly enough, best pay-per-view of the weekend was WWE from beautiful, progressive Jeddah, Saudi Arabia.
The city of the future.
City of the future, right? Progressive. Double or Nothing was good. Watch the big name matches and skip the others, And then NXT Battlegrounds was really good. I just didn't know enough storylines to really get invested in anything, and that's probably the thing for it. But on that note, we're going to go ahead and close the book on the Wrestling Booking Unit, this review. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe. Send us to your friends to let them know. You can head up our merch store. Link is in the doobly-doo. We actually have 2 of them, but they're both in the doobly-doo, so you can check them out there. You can support us by subscribing on Twitch. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you can get 1 free subscription a month. So you can throw it that way and subscribe to us for free and get access to cool emotes and stuff like that, and ad-free viewing, which is really great. You can also send us tips or bits during the live stream. A great way to support us that way. And then you can follow us on all of the social medias. You can follow me pretty much anywhere at Raw and Order WBU except Facebook, but you can find us at that there. You can follow DA Fabe at DA Vincent K Fabe on just Twitter, because that's the only place he knows how to use. And you can follow JLB at
twitch.tv/JLBTLC25. If not on Twitter, JLB420. Yeah, that's about it. I haven't streamed in a hot minute, but AEW Fight Forever is coming out June 29th. So maybe I'll get maybe, or 27th. I think it's June 29th. June 27th or 29th. Either way,
it's
coming.
Rumored the 27th, and then they officially announced the 29th.
29th. There we go.
Yeah.
And hopefully I get some streams in before that. Maybe play a little bit more 2K before Fight Forever comes out, because once Fight Forever comes out, I'm going to play the hell out of that game. So, yeah, I will be doing that at twitch.tv/JLBTLC25.
It will be interesting to find out when they release Fight Forever, when they release Fight Forever, does it have an online play like versus
I feel like
mode?
It's not. I feel like it's not.
They haven't announced anything for it. They announced it that they talk about it for like arcade like play, pick up and play, which typically wouldn't have it. But it's also 2023, and games don't launch in 2023 without some sort of online component. And
Yeah,
if they do
well-
have an online component, will it be cross-platform? And the reason I say that is because I will be getting this. It will be the first wrestling video game I've gotten new in a long time. I have me an Xbox One. So I'll be getting it for Xbox One. You will be getting it very likely not for the Xbox.
Well, I mean, if you end up getting it, I can get it for the Xbox.
Yeah. And so if it has cross-platform play, and you get it on the PS5, then we can play each other that way, and maybe meet up in that, and maybe live stream some games on that. If it doesn't have cross-platform play, then you'll have to also get it on Xbox One.
Apparently, crossplay is planned. There will be cross-platform gameplay during an interview with Wrestling Observer on May 22nd. So that's Kenny Omega mentioning it. So hopefully that still goes on. But keep in mind, usually cross-platform means between each other's Xboxes, whether it's Xbox One, Xbox One S, or X, and PS5 to PS4. 9 times out of 10, it doesn't mean PS5 people can play with Xbox people.
Cross-platform usually is supposed to mean to other platforms, as in not to from Xbox to PlayStation or Xbox to PC.
Yeah,
That's never what platform stands for.
I know, but it's always their own platforms, it seems like, because every time they do mention that, the only game that
anymore.
I know it's cross between their own generations.
No, that's cross generation, and that's a different marketing point. That's a different bullet point, and all things together. Cross platform has always meant PCs get to play against Xbox or PCs.
Yeah.
Now, might not mean
that's what it is, though. PC always generally gets to play with Xbox or PS4 or 5, but that PS4 and 5, that might be true. PS4, you never get PS4 or 5 with Xbox One, Xbox X. That almost never happens, except for Call of Duty.
But it might. I'm knocking on.
Here's the hoping,
though. Wood nearby. Here, let me think of something sexy, and I can knock on my boner. Knock on
But yeah, if not, I'll make sure to get it for Xbox as well, so we can definitely start streaming.
The real question is, do I want to just download it, or do I want the physical disc? I'm leaning towards the physical disc because I'm always leery of download only, because I'm relying on a hard drive in this Xbox One that could always crash. And yeah, I know technically if I purchase it, I'd be able to download it again. But I've had, and this is me, crusty old man, I've had movies that I've paid for digital copy of, and then a few years later, that provider no longer provides the digital copy for it anymore, and now I don't have a digital copy anymore. And so it's the same thing. I always worry with when they come out with the Xbox Series Gamma or whatever it is, the one after this, and they decide to upgrade their systems and all that stuff, and then suddenly Xbox One can no longer access the games that they downloaded or whatever. That's why I'm usually a physical copy guy. But anyways, we will be playing that, but that's a month away.
Yeah.
So we'll get that figured out. But on that note, I'm going to go ahead and close the book. Thank you all for joining us. We will see you soon.
Deuces.